Okay then, here's some of the differences between the Retay T20 and the Pneuwa Cattleman rifle of the same design. M&B Air Gun Review took his apart today, so you'll see the differences behind this trigger plate. Now, they've used flathead screws on here. If it was me, and I might still do this, I'd replace those for Allen nuts, Allen bolts, rather than flathead screws. Okay. I'll just loosen off the actual trigger guard, see if that's making a difference to the tension on it. It probably is. There we go. So that's got that off. You can see differences already here. This one has got no trigger adjustment. Alright, I think we'll be able to get to the plate better now. Yeah, so if we're looking there, the actual sears are not polished like on the Cattleman guns. And there's no screw adjustment. Well, there actually is, but there's no screws in it. So let's see. Now there is 2 screw holes there. Looking at that, the front one's got nothing in it, so although there's adjustment there, there's no adjustment screw in it. Whether it had touched that pin, I don't know. Let's just put that through a minute. Yeah, it's worth thinking about that. So that's the same size as that. I see. So there's no adjustment screw for the trigger adjustment on this model, which is interesting. So something you could add, but they've done that with the Cattleman ones. These are just blued, they're not polished like the Cattleman either. So you can see the differences in the trigger already. No adjustment screw. What I also did notice was, if you look on my barrel screws, there was no screw for the front, so I fitted my own screw there to give it more support. I've noticed on all the other guns you've only got a locking screw at the back, but you can fit one at the front as well. So you can certainly tune the trigger system up. Well, I may have some spare grub screws, because that would be the ideal thing, a grub screw. I'll see what I've got and see what what adjustments could be made, but that's just a quick look on the differences so far. So they could be got out of the Retay and polished up more, and I can put an adjuster screw in that for the spring. That'll have put more tension on it, I would have thought. So it can be polished there and around there, and then on the sear just up there. If you look underneath, you can actually see the hammer there, look, hopefully. It's just a quick look at behind the trigger on a Retay. Alright, I've just gone into my little box of grub screws, and I've got one here. Put tension on the screw there, look. On the spring, I should say. So it's there if I need to, but having said that, the trigger's really not light anyway. But at least I've got the option now. I'll do. Put the plate back on. There's my little grub screws. Right, so if I can get a grub screw to fit one of those with a flattish head on it, I'll do that. So I just don't like screw heads like this. Now these blocks will be the same on all the rifles, apart from the trigger on the tactical ones. And you've got a pistol grip fit on that, but apart from that the blocks should all be the same. Even that's a screw head, look. Better off with an Allen one, I think. Just lighten it off a bit. That's why I had a problem getting it off, this was pushing into it. So now the valve blocks are different. So mine came with, where I've got the manometer now, it was blanked off with a big grub screw, similar to that but bigger. Within the block there was a hole that came out that way, and that got another screw in it with a washer on it, and that basically held the air back. But you take the screw out, take the washer out, and that lets the air from the cylinder come out down that way, and you can fit a gauge. I mean, mine's actually showing 100 bar, what the regulator's set at now. But on a regulated rifle, this will read the regulator pressure, because there's a gap in there where the valve block screws in. It's probably about that long, and the circumference of the cylinder itself, and that is basically the plenum size. So the actual regulator is fitted onto the end of that end of this, and it's got an O-ring at the front, and that stops the air coming past the cylinder and escaping out of there. So the only air that's going to go through that is the pressure within the valve area there, between the valve and the regulator. If it's not fitted with a regulator, I've noticed that on the Cattleman guns they've got no screw underneath, so you can attach that. But it don't mean to say there's not a regulator fitted, it just means that you can't read the gauge, the pressure on it. But that's the difference anyway. I'll put the grip back on. These are like AR style grips. You can get any will fit it, any style. It's like the rear butt plate. If you've got a style of your choice that you like, you can fit it to it. It's a matter of screwing it in. I think it's a 5mm Allen bolt, I think. Yeah, when screwing on the bolt for the pistol grip, I suggest putting a dab of gun oil on the end of the bolt, just to help lubricate it as it goes in, because otherwise it can get a bit stiff. So there we go. Some of the small differences on the trigger setup between the Cattleman and the Retay rifles.